If you don't want to end up like these guys who can't stop fighting because they have too many bills overdue, or like this guy who has no fear in washing his jeans cause he knows all the money he had has already been used to pay off his debt. Watch this video until the very end, and I promise you that by the time you will have finished watching this video, you will have figured out how to get a good grip on your finances. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Shuriel and you're watching Modest Millionaire, where we talk about all things money that they don't teach you in school. The total amount of outstanding debt in the United States grew to roughly $15 trillion in 2020. I mean, what are we even spending that kind of money on? Even though our economy has been consistently growing since 2011, consumer debt has been growing with it and has gone from roughly $12 trillion in 2011 to roughly $15 trillion as of 2020. Now, not all debt is bad for you, but there are definitely some outliers there, such as credit card debt, student loan debt, money that you borrowed from your neighbor that play a havoc on your finances and your life and need to be controlled. In this video, I want to talk to you about different strategies that you can start applying to your debt burden starting today and get control of your finances so that you can live a happy and stress-free life. Just like my dog here. Make sure to stick around until the very end for a bonus trick that you can incorporate right now to quickly reduce some debt burden off of your shoulders right away. But before we begin, I want to request you guys to gently pet the like button like it's your little puppy and subscribe to my channel so that my life-changing, stress-reducing personal finance videos are delivered right to your computer screen efficiently each week. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram to learn about juicy insights of my personal life and see how I save money on a regular basis. Like I said in the beginning of this video, guys, not all debt is bad for you. So how do you decide which debt is bad? That is a big question that needs to be answered right away if you are sick of carrying around a lot of debt and want to take control of your finances by starting to pay off some of that debt. With a regular 9 to 5 jobs, there's only so much money each of us brings in or can bring in each week to pay off significant amounts of debt. So this video is not about paying off lump sum at a time, but taking a strategic approach towards paying off the total debt little by little, piece by piece. The first step in recognizing which debt is bad is by taking a closer look at the interest rate on each of your open accounts. These include your mortgages, car loans, student loans, credit card debt, and any other personal loans that you may be currently making monthly payments on. Typically, mortgages and car loans are cheap to have on your shoulders. But how do you identify if it is a cheap debt or an expensive one? My approach to this, and I'm not saying this is the most solid approach out there, but one that has worked for me in the past, is to check the average return on the S&P index over the past 30 years, accounting for inflation, and if your debt is cheaper than the average return, aka your interest rate on that debt is lower than what the market can earn you after inflation each year, then it is a cheaper debt to have. Typically, mortgages that charge less than 4% in interest each year and car loans that range in the similar interest rate range are considered cheap debts to have, and you can continue making minimum payments on these if you also have other debt to worry about. Anything beyond the 4% threshold starts to get a little bit dicey, and it really depends on how much that total loan is to determine if it should be paid off quickly or over the course of time. The worst debt of all to have is the credit card debt. This is the kind of debt that most people take on without even realizing the implications of the burden until one day they realize that the amount of debt they need to pay back to the credit card companies far exceeds what their payback capacity is. Credit card interest rates in the US range anywhere between 18 to 25% per year and can quickly create a major dent in your budget if you let that debt spiral out of control. Let's say, for example, that you make $3,000 a month after taxes and your life is going okay for the major part until you decide to swipe your credit card to make a major purchase that you think is going to make you happy. For the sake of this example, let's say that you buy a brand name purse worth $3,000. After making this purchase, you realize that you cannot pay off the credit card balance of $3,000 right away and decide to pay it off over the next year instead. At a 20% rate of interest, then that $3,000 in credit card debt will cost you roughly $50 extra each month to carry around that debt on your shoulders while making just minimum payments each month. That $3,000 purse then costs you roughly $3,600 by the end of the year just by making one impulse decision to make that expensive of a purchase with your credit card in the first place. There are so many people in the world then that make random impulse decisions like these each minute, and all it does is make the credit card companies a lot of money in terms of the interest you pay on it. As a general rule of thumb then, Make sure to at least have enough cash on hand that you are willing to let go in the form of credit card payment if you decide to make any sort of purchase with consumer debt. Credit card purchases can also be beneficial if you pay off the balance each month without racking up interest on the balance and earn reward points or cashback instead. But what if you have been trying to keep up with the Jonases and have already racked up a decent amount of debt that is far beyond how much you earn each month and want to understand how to pay it off as fast as possible? What if you did not know that the purchases you have been making are going to get you in trouble at some point and are now just barely getting by somehow each month just by making the minimum payments? I'm linking my video about how to save your first $1,000 here, so if you need to make more money than you already are each month, you should definitely go check that out. But here are a few ways that you can start using right now to start paying off your debt faster. Number one way to tackle debt is to realize how much debt you have. Here is how you do that. Take a piece of paper or open an Excel file and list all debt you have. Along with the debt, write down the interest rate for each debt that you're paying each month. This will give you an idea of how much debt you have open and which debt is the most expensive. Then you can start looking into what is known as a debt avalanche method for debt repayment. If you don't know what avalanche means, just to give you a brief analogy, avalanche is when a huge mass of snow starts crumbling down from mountaintop and grabs anything and everything that comes in its way. With this method, you will still continue making minimum payments towards all your debt, but once you are done making minimum payments, whatever money you have left over after paying for your monthly expenses each month, you will put all that money towards paying off that one debt with the highest interest rate. This may be the smallest debt you have or the largest, it doesn't matter. As long as you can tell from the summary you just created that, hey, this brand name purse I bought costs me 20% in interest each year, you can start paying off that debt more aggressively than any other debts you may have. This method has been deemed efficient by a lot of people, and it reduces the time it takes for you to get out of debt. What's going to happen is that there will always be one account from all your open accounts that you are paying off more each month. This account will get paid off faster and will leave you with more money each month to pay off towards the next highest interest rate account, and so on. For example, say you have a total consumer debt of $12,000 between 5 different credit cards. Here is a breakdown of what that looks like from our Excel summary. Let's say that your first three cards have $2,000 in open balance each, and the remaining two have $3,000 each. Let's assume that the interest rate on cards is as shown: 16% on card 1, 18% on card 2, 23% on card 3, 20% on card 4, and 21% on card 5. Even though card 3 has a lower outstanding balance than card 4 and 5, you will continue making minimum payments for cards 1, 2, 4, and 5 and make higher payments towards card 3 because card 3 costs you more money to keep that debt each month in terms of interest. This may seem super complicated to do when you first get started with it, but trust me guys, a little bit of homework will go a long way. All you need to do is make a summary of all your open debts with the interest rates on each of them, and it will become much more streamlined for you to start using this method. This method definitely requires more discipline and commitment, but trust me, it is also the most efficient way to pay off your debts. One thing I do want to ask you is that while you are on a path to debt-free life, make sure that you are not using your credit cards any more than you normally would, and spending for your groceries and gas and things of that nature is just part of life. But spending $1,000 on a new iPhone is definitely not. Alright, time to jump into our second method of paying debt off. It's commonly known as the snowball method and represents a small mass of snow starting at the top of a hill and rolling down while slowly becoming larger and larger by the time it gets to the bottom. How this relates to paying off debt with this method is to start by tackling the smallest debt you have first and then slowly making your way towards paying off larger and larger debts. This method targets psychological demand for humans to attain quick wins, instant gratification per se, and paying off the smallest debt gives you just that. Basically, paying off smaller debt will take you less time, and by the time you even realize that you are on a path towards a debt-free life, you would have already paid off one or two of your smallest open consumer debts. Let's try to understand this method with the help of an example. Let's say you have 3 credit cards, each with an open balance of $2,000, $3,500, and $5,000. You will keep making minimum payments towards each of these cards each month first. Then, whatever money you have left over after paying for your monthly expenses, you will contribute towards paying off the smallest balance, aka the $2,000 balance first. This will guarantee that $2,000 will get paid off faster as you start aggressively tackling it, and then you can move on to paying off the next largest balance, which is $3,500 in a similar fashion. This method is designed to give you motivation in continuing your debt payoff method, as paying off the smallest debt fast will give you a feeling of winning at something or winning against your debt that was bringing you down for a long time and will keep you motivated towards paying off larger debts. The disadvantage with this method is that the amount of interest you will end up paying using this method to pay off debt will be higher than the Avalanche method. But this method is more about behavior modification and getting someone motivated towards getting rid of their debt. Change is hard, and when you have more money going towards paying off for your older spending habits, it can be a scary thing as you are not saving anything nor investing anything and just paying off an existing balance. But at the same time, it is extremely essential to wipe off bad debt from your life as fast as you can so that you can start focusing on investing and saving as soon as possible. My advice here is to start paying off your debt using the snowball method so that you get a feeling of winning once or twice, and once you get used to making those extra payments towards your debt in 2 or 3 months, then you can switch over to using the Avalanche method so that you can accelerate your debt payment. If you have gotten this far in the video, I'm sure you are finding these methods useful for your finances, so please support my channel by tapping the like button and subscribing for more similar content on personal finance. Finally, I want to leave you guys with a bonus tip to help you with your debt payment venture. If you haven't already, go ahead and look into plans for debt consolidation. Debt consolidation means that you are taking on new debt to pay off existing debt, but the new debt will be at a far lower interest rate than your existing debt. I have said this in my previous videos that the best gift you can give yourself in debt is the gift of a lower interest rate. And if you are able to acquire a personal loan of sort at say 8 to 10% rate per year, that can sometimes be literally half of the interest rate you pay on your credit card debt each month. This can be a great way to free up some of your money to keep paying more each month to pay off your debt, and can really save you a few months, even a few years in your journey to become debt free. A lot of financial institutions offer these debt consolidation loans, so I suggest you look into them. So to summarize, you can start by consolidating your debt first in order to get a lower interest rate than what you're currently paying. And this will help reduce the total amount required to be paid off, saving you money in the long run. Then you can start by using the debt snowball method if getting motivated to pay off debt is a problem. This method focuses on wins from paying off smaller debts first and can really get you excited to pay off your entire debt. Once you're motivated enough to pay off your debt, consider switching over to the Avalanche method that focuses on paying off debt with the highest interest rate first. This will help you lower your interest payment burden even further and will save you even more money in the long run. Alright guys, that was all I had for today's video. Hopefully this video brings you some value and helps you take the right steps towards debt repayment. Let me know in the comments below if any of these methods are useful to you, or if you have already been using one of these methods to help pay off your debt and how that has improved your life in the past few months. Also, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content to help improve your personal finances. See you guys again soon. See ya!